What's up, guys? Welcome back to my personal finance channel. My name is kyledipeppe, and today we're going to be talking about GPU versus ASIC mining. Which is better? Which is worse? What are the benefits? What are the drawbacks? And which one should you do? So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let's just jump right into it. Mining has gotten a lot of attention recently, cryptocurrency mining, due to the fact that prices are rising. So when prices are rising, people are not only trading more, looking into different ways to get higher yields, such as yield farming, but then you also start looking at mining. When mining started going higher, the prices of GPUs started going higher. The prices of ASICs also started going higher. And on top of all of that, there's a chip shortage going around. So it is almost impossible to find GPUs right now, especially GPUs for a, affordable price, or a price that makes sense. So the first thing when looking at GPU versus ASIC mining is going to be price, right? What are you paying for the GPU and computer setup that you have to run? And what are you paying for that ASIC? And does that price come with a power unit, or do you have to buy another power unit too? So you want to look at the total cost of the system and then determine the efficiency, right? So how many watts does it use? What's the hash rate it can mine at, for example? So once you've looked at those, three big things, right? You want to look at hash rate, wattage that you're using, basically the electricity usage, and then the cost to acquire the equipment that you need to run everything. These three things are key. Now, obviously, the wattage, I'm sort of tying in the cost of your electricity, but that's going to be the same for ASICs and GPUs. Wherever you are, you're going to be paying whatever your electricity rate is. So that's kind of a constant between all three of them. So the biggest thing is going to be ROII, return on initial investment. And this is key because, for example, if you're buying GPUs that mine at a lower hash rate, it might take you a year to recoup your initial investment, whereas an ASIC might mine at a higher hash rate, but recoup that initial investment faster. Now, a lot of this comes back to the price that you paid, right? If you can actually buy GPUs or graphics cards at MSRP from a store and not these crazy marked up prices, your ROI could be relatively similar to an ASIC mining machine. Same thing with ASICs. If you're buying them secondhand, you might be buying them for an inflated price, and therefore your return on initial investment is much larger. So these are all things to pay attention to and be very careful of when you're looking at buying these GPUs or ASICs on Amazon or eBay or any of these third parties where they're probably selling them at a premium, because you want to basically look up the hash rate for that machine, the wattage, and plug it into a simple calculator. So let's, look at a simple situation. All right, so if we take an ASIC, such as the A11, that's coming out supposedly in June, who knows if you'll even be able to get it, but on Coin Mining Central, they're selling it for $30,000. It's crazy because just like a week or two ago, I was looking at prices and it was around $24,000. So I don't know what the price on this thing's gonna be. It could just keep going up, especially if Ethereum keeps going higher, but who knows? Either way, if we look at this, it can mine 4 cryptocurrencies: Ethereum Classic, some like music coin or something, and UBIQ. I've never heard of those last two, but either way, it's the ETH hash algorithm, but it's basically specific tokens that it can mine. It lists those 4. So Ethereum potentially going, I'll talk about this later, but going proof of stake later on, which means you wouldn't be able to mine it anymore, so remember that. Either way, if we look at this, 2,000 mega hashes at 2,500 watts. So if we quickly plug that into Crypto Compare, basically just a quick calculator, my cost per kilowatt is 8 cents. So I'm gonna leave that in there. I'm gonna leave a 1% pool fee. In some cases, I think you can get 0 or even less than that, maybe half, or sometimes it's as high as 1.5%. And then currently Ethereum for $1,599, which is where it's currently trading. That's a profit per month of $45.91. So if you take the $30,000 purchase price and you divide that by 4,500, just to be conservative, that's 6.6 months for a return on initial investment. That's actually pretty good, right? Think about it. If you could put your money into an investment and make 100% of that money back in 6.6 months, that's 100% return. That's like if you bought a stock and it doubled in price, you made 100% return in 6.6 months, which is pretty crazy. So this means that if the price of Ethereum goes higher, that return on initial investment comes down even more. However, if the difficulty goes up, it could stay the same or increase. So you have to remember that. That's obviously the same with GPUs as well. But let's take a similar GPU setup. Well, the question then comes down to, again, price, right? Like, how much can you get GPUs for? How much should they cost? How much can you sort of build a computer for? So if we do some conservative estimates there, let's just say you're paying inflated prices, because I bought some 3070s for $1,000 on Amazon, which is pretty crazy, I know. But I decided that based on the ROI, it was worth it, so I went ahead and went for it. So for one rig, let's just be conservative in our estimates. We're doing a 6 GPU rig. We get a motherboard with 6 slots. We build out the computer components, the motherboard, the CPU, the power units, the power devices, all that stuff, $1,000. Each graphics card, $1,000. So conservatively, $7,000 for a 6 GPU rig. All right, so if you were able to build a rig for $7,000, 6 GPUs, $1,000 each, build out the computer and that setup for another $1,000, you're in it for $7,000. Now it could be a little bit more with taxes, but let's just be sort of conservative here. This is also paying inflated GPU prices. They could be more $1,100, $1,200 for example, but either way, let's just stick to this. You would get roughly, I'm also being, sort of conservative here, 61 mega hashes per each card. So that's a total of 366 mega hashes for the entire rig, and then around 130 watts per card. You might be able to bring this down either way. We're just going with 130 watts per card. We're adding 200 watts for the rest of the system, so we're going to say 980 watts total. Again, if we plug that into Crypto Compare, you can see right here at a cost of 8 cents per kilowatt, you're going to return roughly $810 per month. So if you take that $810 per month and the $7,000 for the rig, if you divide 7,000 by 810, it's 8.6 months. So an extra 2 months to get that total return on initial investment. However, you can always switch and mine whatever coin you want. You're not necessarily limited to the 4 that are listed based on that ASIC, right? Because with a GPU, you can mine any token that's GPU mineable. Obviously, you want to mine the most profitable one because that's going to give you the fastest ROI, which in this case is Ethereum. So if you're looking at those two things, apples to apples, it's going to be a 2-month quicker time to recoup your initial investment with an ASIC versus a GPU mining rig. However, if you could buy those 3070s at actual MSRP, it would drastically decrease this. So let's just do a quick calculation with that. So if you could actually get them from Best Buy, if we go to Best Buy right now, you can see they're sold out, but the RTX 3070s were listed for $500. So half the cost as to what they're going for on Amazon. Now, obviously you have to factor in taxes and things like that, but let's just say $500 is the cost. Well, that means the GPUs would only cost you $3,000. Plus, let's say $1,000 for the rig still and all the other whatnot, because that could potentially include taxes. Either way, $4,000 divided by 800, that brings us down to just under 5 months, which is actually less than the ASIC mining rig. However, at the same time, if you remember, I did see that ASIC A11 being advertised for $24,000 from Coin Mining Central. So now it's gone up to $30,000. So I don't know what they're actually going to sell for, but if you could get them for $24,000, same thing with the GPUs, because Best Buy could always jack up prices. Who knows? But if you could get that for $24,000, that would be just over 5 months. So as you can tell, there's obviously a lot of sort of factors that go into pricing these things out. How cheap can you get computer parts and GPUs? How cheap can you get ASICs? What is the hash rate you get at the end of the day? How stable is your rig? Because you're assuming that it's running 24/7 nonstop with 0 issues. So all of these factors come into play, but it gives you a rough estimate of what is your return on initial investment. So depending on price, it can be very, I guess, close. But at the same time, seeing as how there's a chip shortage, both of these things are hard to get. But either way, it's not too far off, right? So this isn't a huge push, I guess, for me to go GPUs or ASICs, but it is things to keep in mind, because depending on the price that you actually pay can drastically change your ROI. So the next thing is going to be, which I mentioned, the coins that you can mine. If you buy an ASIC, you're limited to whatever hashing algorithm comes on that. It's basically a purpose-built computer, and you plug it in and it just goes, right? It does what it is built to do, and that is it. Whereas GPUs, you can change what you want to mine with them. You have more than 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 options like an ASIC has. You can mine whatever coins are GPU mineable if you're buying GPUs. Now, you also want to be mindful of NVIDIA versus AMD. I know there's some, I guess, cards that are better for mining certain things and some that aren't, so do your own research there. But you are limited. So in that sense, I think that GPUs would kind of win on that sense, because if you buy GPUs, well, what happens if Ethereum moves to proof of stake and Ethereum Classic is not that profitable? Well, that's your only option if you buy that $30,000 in a Silicon A11. You can't mine anything else. Well, I guess you can mine Music Coin and UBIQ, but I have no idea how profitable those things are. I've never even heard of them. So with buying GPUs, you have a larger diversification of other tokens you can mine depending on how prices fluctuate and how hashing difficulty fluctuates. So in that situation, I would say GPUs win in that perspective. Now the next thing, and something that is also really important, is what if Ethereum does go proof of stake? It's super profitable right now, but it's going to get cut in half. So instead of making $4,500 a month, you might be mining Ethereum Classic making $1,000 a month, right? And that's assuming you bought that $30,000 in a Silicon ASIC. Now, if you bought GPUs and you were like, hey, now I can't mine Ethereum, and Ethereum Classic's only making me like $20 a month, instead of the $800, I just want to stop. Well, with GPUs, you can sell those pretty easily, right? You can always go out, and there's always going to be gamers that want to buy GPUs for their gaming computers. There's people that need new computer parts, whether that's a motherboard, mice, keyboard, displays, whatever you've bought sort of for your mining rig. You can basically sell off all of those parts. So even if you take a 50% hit on the hardware itself, you're still only losing 50%. If you have an ASIC, right, that mines a specific token or specific tokens, but it might just be a handful, if those tokens become proof of stake, like Ethereum could potentially be with 2.0 in the next year or two, or maybe it only mines one thing, such as Bitcoin, right? Maybe something catastrophic happens with Bitcoin and it goes to zero. You have more risk there because you've now paid $30,000 for this miner, this ASIC miner, that you can't sell to anybody because it had one purpose. Its one purpose was to mine those tokens and do so profitably. As soon as that disappears, or if that token drops in value and your electricity costs more than the value of the token that you mine, you can't really do anything with that ASIC. Nobody wants it. If it's not profitable to you, it's not profitable to somebody else. Whereas with GPUs and building a mining rig with GPUs and computer components, you can always resell those to other people that want computer components, that want GPUs for their gaming PCs. So based on that, I would also say that building a GPU mining rig, especially as a sort of first initial investment and getting into it, is a much better option due to the fact that if you decide to not keep doing it, or if the cryptocurrency market crashes, you can still at least sell the GPUs and computer components for 50, 60, 70, maybe even 80% of what you bought them for, whereas an ASIC is basically worthless at that point. So now not only are you not generating passive income every month due to mining cryptocurrencies, but you can't even sell this piece of $30,000 hardware that you bought to mine cryptocurrencies because of something crazy that happened. So based on all of those things, and those three, I guess, big things, right? ROII, the mineability of various tokens, and then last but not least, the resale of the hardware that you're actually buying, I would say personally that I think GPU mining is better. And better in the sense that the ROII is relative, right? So it does depend on the price that you can get, and then the efficiency, right? In order to get up to 2,000 mega hashes of mining hash rate, you might be using a little bit more watts and things like that. But at the same time, your downside risk, meaning if Ethereum goes to proof of stake, if the cryptocurrency market crashes, you can always sell the GPUs and computer components much more easily than you could sell an ASIC mining machine. Because if an ASIC mining machine isn't profitable for the 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 tokens that it can mine, nobody's going to want it. The price is going to collapse for that ASIC as well. So for me, I went GPUs. We went with the GPUs. We got some 3070s, a 3080 behind me. We have 2 more 3070s up there. And then right here, we have a 6 RX 580 mining rig. So all of these, cost me probably around, I don't know, somewhere like $11,000 to $14,000. But they do pretty well. I think like $1,500 a month based on current Ethereum difficulty and price. But they have been running well. This is running on ETHOS. And all of these are running on Hive OS. But currently, I'm running a little GPU mining rig farm over there and just mining Ethereum, and it's been fun. It's been a good experience. I've learned a lot more from it, and I thought that investing in mining rigs was better than just putting that money into Ethereum, because now I'm generating more and more Ethereum every single month. Whereas if I just bought Ethereum, it would just be a one-time purchase. I would have that number of tokens, and that's it. So I mine directly into my BlockFi wallet, which also earned me interest. I think they pay over 5% interest on Ethereum. So based on that, I'm actually earning even more Ethereum every single month. So if you are interested in that, link in the description below for my BlockFi referral link, where you can earn up to, I think, $250 in free Bitcoin if you open an account and fund it with X dollar amount. And also links below, they are affiliate links, just so you know, so I would get a little bit of money if you do end up buying any computer components or whatever from Amazon, but it's basically links to the majority of components that I've used to build out an Ethereum mining rig, literally those Ethereum mining rigs that I just showed you. But I hope this video was helpful to sort of determine how you want to get into mining. Should you go GPUs? Should you go ASICs? And a lot of it basically comes down to, well, what tokens do you want to mine? What's the price you're getting things for? And if the market collapses or you want to stop it, can you even sell these things? And that's why I think GPUs are a little bit superior to ASICs, especially for my situation and what I'm doing. So hope this video was helpful. Again, if it was, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, would really help me out, would really appreciate it. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.